So I recently acquired this Ranga fountain pen and I'm going to be filling it for the first time. Wanted to walk everyone through the process. Here's the pen itself. It's definitely on the large side. I believe it's all ebonite or partly ebonite. It didn't have a whole lot of details when I picked it up, so it was used. But it's a nice pen. Looks to be a nice way to get into this brand, which I don't have a lot of familiarity with. But tiny little clip, big cap, screw-on cap. Came to me, even though it was used, super clean, really good condition. It has this kind of nice ebonite. It's I don't know if I would call it a wood grain or kind of this acrylic pattern, but it's pretty cool. It has that sort of rubbery ebonite feel. And I believe it might have a matching or close to matching ebonite nib. Sorry, feed rather. So to fill it, it might look like you removed this piece, but I'm pretty sure you don't. It seems fixed. I don't want to wrench it. I can tell you for sure that this piece unscrews. And now you can see there is an aperture for that ink. I can't tell what it's like, but it looks like just a hole that was drilled through there. Nothing super sophisticated, but that's really all you need is just a small area for the ink to get through. I would think there'd be some sort of air pocket or something somewhere. You know, just not pocket, just like a way for, as the ink wants to go down, for air to get back up. But perhaps just the natural motion of the pen means some air is escaping and some ink is going back and forth. That way you don't get any sort of, I don't even know what it would be, like a vacuum type thing. The nib looks like it's on there just a little bit off, just off by a few degrees. I'm gonna go with it. I don't want to start messing with it. It just looks like slightly askew. Again, just like maybe 2 or 3 degrees off, but it's the hazard of buying a used pen. So here is the pen body. This will be filled with ink. It didn't come with an eyedropper. You don't need an eyedropper. Pen doesn't have to come with an eyedropper. There's a lot of ways to do it. A lot of people use a syringe. I really like these pipettes. Just a plastic pipette holds 3 milliliters, which is way more ink than you're going to need for most pens. So this pen clearly has giant capacity. And then I have this ink. I mean, you can use whatever ink you want. This is just something I had lying around. It's Mont Blanc Royal Blue. I think it's a pretty okay blue, but again, just something I had lying around. And this thing is stuck on there. Just when you want to do this really nice and clean, you always have some sort of mess. That's the part of the fun of fountain pens. So get this, and I'll give it a nice big squeeze here, get as much as we can. And you see, did a very nice job there. We have over 3 milliliters here. Put this in here. You don't want to hit the sides, especially the threading. You'll create a big mess. And now you could rarely get this out in a single drop. You do have to do a few. Get everything we can there. And that 3 milliliters has gone maybe a third of the way up here. So you could keep going. But I like to switch up my inks fairly regularly. So anything more than 3 milliliters means I'll be using this blue way more than I really want to. Not that I don't like the ink, but I do like to switch things up. Screw this back in place, go nice and tight. It's a nice long thread. It's a fine thread, so I don't feel the need to put any sort of, silicone grease or anything like that in there. You could, and it would help seal it, but I don't think it's necessary, especially with a softer material like an ebonite on this end. So I'll go back. And this should take a few minutes, and then I should start writing. We'll see. I'll give it a shake, try to get some air mixed in, and give it a little bit of time. Inverted like this. Probably do it with the cap on, just because I don't know this pen that well. I don't want to see any leaking, and we will see what happens. Okay, it's about 60 seconds later, and the pen is writing. Again, all I did was I gave it a few shakes, and I didn't even give a hard press on the nib. I was going to, but it wasn't required. Gave it a few shakes, gave it some time, and then a nice way to jumpstart these things is you just give it a blot like here, and once you have ink going through that breather hole right there, that little hole right there, then the pen is going to start writing very quickly. So now it's writing nice and smooth, medium point. Everything's going to look extra broad on this paper. This is just a highly absorbent craft style paper. So don't use this to be too indicative of how the pen writes, but nice and smooth, works well. No problems with running or stopping. So I'm guessing that air exchange issue is not going to be a problem, and it just sort of solves itself. I was probably overthinking that sort of thing. So anyway, that is a quick introduction to the Ranga fountain pen, and this is how you fill an eyedropper pen.